Today, what we're going to be talking about is all about how to kick your self-doubt to the curb, how to banish it for good, as it's definitely a huge block to stepping into and owning your most confident, your most capable, and your most authentic self. And with that being said, for those of you that don't know me, I want to introduce myself. My name is Erin Bogdan. I am a authenticity coach and soul purpose activator, and I help unfulfilled go-getters and high achievers ditch their self-doubt, ditch their not enough mindset so that they can become their most unstoppable, unapologetic, authentic self. And I just want to say, for anyone that may be watching this on replay or on YouTube, absolutely, if this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so excited and have so much appreciation for you being here. And I want you to know I love and adore you all so much. So thank you. So let's dive right in. Number one, before we jump into these hot tips here, I want to say if you're here, you likely at some point in your life experienced imposter syndrome in some way, shape, or form. Now, what is that? It basically just means that you've been in different circumstances or situations where you felt like you were a fraud or you were an imposter or you didn't feel like you were good enough, that you felt like maybe in some way, and speaking from my own experience here, right, like I felt like in different job roles that I held that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't cut out for this, that I wasn't capable enough, that there was someone better than me, and I just felt like I'm not supposed to be here. Why am I here, right? And in those moments, what it was that made me really feel that way, one thing that it was that made me feel that way was the nagging self-doubt that I was having about doubting my capabilities. And so that is definitely a huge block to owning your confidence. And so we need to deal with our self-doubt. We need to learn to trust ourselves and trust our capabilities and trust our intuition, which is what I'm all about and why we're here and why I'm talking to you today. So hot tip number one is, first of all, to understand that your self-doubt didn't just appear overnight, okay? Your self-doubt likely has been, feels like fumigating, but I feel like that's not the best word. It's been simmering. It's been this energy of, coming about. It's been coming about for probably most of your life. And if you reflect back and get curious for a moment of where did this start? Where did this self-doubt begin? Where did I first notice this self-doubt? And I'm going to give you a really specific example here, is that for most of us, if you can ever remember feeling as a kid, as an example, that you were having an experience that you were told wasn't the experience that you were actually having. And what I mean by that is, like, maybe you were told that you shouldn't be crying. Why are you crying? Stop crying. There's nothing to be crying about. But the truth is, you felt really sad. So in that moment, it's like, I'm having this emotional reaction in my body and I'm upset about something, or I'm angry or sad about something. And here there is the parent or the caretaker telling me, stop crying. You shouldn't be crying. There's nothing to be crying about. There's nothing to be angry about. So that experience is when there's this authoritative figure who, in this case, it's like, you look up to them because they're your caretaker, they love you, they want what's best for you, you hold them on a pedestal, right? So many children hold our parents or caretakers on a pedestal because we think that, they know everything, right? They're the end-all, be-all of just knowing what's best of us, so we hold them in high regard. And so if they're saying to us that, what you're experiencing isn't what you should be experiencing, you're most likely going to put your trust outside of yourself. You're going to put your trust into them. And there could be other instances where, you're made to feel implicitly or explicitly that what you're experiencing is wrong and what they're experiencing is right. A really simple example of this is, if you've ever felt cold in a room and you ask someone else, do you feel cold? And the person's like, no, I don't feel cold, right? And if you're a child and there's an adult, maybe you're going to be questioning your experience. And so the point that I'm making is that basically you're putting your weight outside of you and into them. And if you do this consistently over time, you're learning that what I'm experiencing, I cannot trust, that I need to look outside of myself for external validation or for confirmation. And if that confirmation differs then from what I'm experiencing, then I'm going to put my confirmation and my trust outside of myself. And that in and of itself, it leads to self-betrayal, self-abandonment, which doesn't happen overnight. So just like it doesn't happen overnight, there is no quick fix to it, like poof, magic wand, your self-doubt, I boop you over the head, it disappearing. That's not going to happen. It's going to take practice and time around cultivating trust with yourself, which is going to lead us directly into tips 2 and tip 3. And before we do that too, one other quick example I'll share here around the self-doubt is, it could be, another example could be that your parents, you witness them not trusting themselves and questioning themselves and being a role model for not being sure they could trust themselves and always going outside of themselves for external validation or confirmation. So I'd love to know in the comments, if you're watching this on replay, I'd love to know what specifically from your own experience led to you, as you reflect, led to you questioning yourself, doubting yourself, and not being able to trust in yourself. All right, so on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is all about, I'm going to kind of give it to you as it is, which you might be wondering, like, well, how, Erin, right? Which we're gonna dissect this a little bit. But tip number 2 is to stop putting your weight outside of yourself, to stop seeking external validation and confirmation, and to instead start trusting what you're feeling and what you're sensing within your own being and within your own body. And going back to that example of being cold, in that moment, if you're cold, you don't need to know if someone else is cold. What does it matter if someone else is cold if you know you're cold, right? Like, grab a sweater or turn up the temperature, right? Like, do what's in your control. So step number 2 is, like, in order to do that, in order to start trusting what we're sensing and we're feeling, is really simply to start getting in touch with and cultivating safety to get back in touch with our bodies, to be present into our bodies and be present with the experience that we're having, and to confirm and trust that the experience we're having is the experience that we're having, and to act from there. And a really simple way to do this is to, on one level, I say our bodies never lie, right? Our bodies are, again, I'm at a loss for words here. Our bodies are instinctual in nature. So it's like, we, on some level, the way that our body has an internal response, that is an authentic response, right? When you're afraid, you feel fear. When you're sad, you cry. Like, those feelings are authentic. So your body is always going to reveal the truth to you. So if you're, feeling, let's say, if you're feeling heart open and you're feeling happy and giddy and excited, that's a good clue that, okay, to trust that feeling, to trust what you're sensing. If you are feeling closed off, restricted, like you want to curl up into a ball, like, that's a good clue that maybe whatever decision you're questioning isn't a decision to act on or to move into the direction of. So always say, connect into, and a really simple way to connect to your body and to connect to these emotions is to remember, what is the best memory that you've had in your life, right? Thinking, closing your eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, and connecting to the best memory that you have, the happiest memory of your life. And as you do that, you're going to notice within your body, as you really deepen in your breath, connect to your body, you're going to notice in your body a feeling is elicited. You're going to notice different sensations. And then I would have you do the opposite. Remember the worst moment of your life, the worst memory that you have of your life, and you're going to have a different response in your body. So that's a good way to start to get this barometer of what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and how can I start to build and cultivate that trust within myself and develop that inner knowing within myself. Tip number 3, to help really further get you in touch with your own authentic experience, and this one seems may seem very simple, but is to really cultivate a daily meditation practice where you're meditating to silence. Now, when I work with my clients, many people that I work with are trapped in their head. They have so many thoughts consuming them. They're, overthinkers. They're very logical. They're overanalyzers. And so me saying meditating to silence may sound like that's impossible task because, well, you're left with you and your thoughts, right? So I have a practice that meditating to silence, but the key thing for you to know is that when you're meditating to silence, you, number one, if you can notice your thoughts floating by you and they're like logs on a river floating by you, you're not engaging with them, you're not plucking them off, you're not taking the log off the river and like putting it on the bank next to you, right? You're just noticing the log pass by you. Then you can start to begin to become an observer of these thoughts, and you can actually then connect into, as you do this over time. And again, this isn't something you have to give yourself grace in this process if you've never done this before, but start with 5 minutes, work your way up to 10 minutes, work your way up to 15 minutes. And I would say if you can do 20 minutes, 5 to 20 minutes is amazing. 10 to 20 is even better because it's going to give you a longer period of time to be with yourself. But it's, as you cultivate this practice over time, you're going to really connect into the depth of your being. Some people call this their authentic self. Some people call it their higher self. They call it maybe their true essence, their truth, their divine being, their soul, whatever name you want to give to it. It's the you that is beyond your thoughts. It's the true, authentic you. And that you is one with everything, one with consciousness, one with the divine. It knows everything. You know everything. You have an inner knowing that is so strong within you because you were born here for a purpose. You were born for greatness, and that inner being of you is going to be able to guide you like a compass to the experiences that you're meant to be experiencing to help you bring that vision into life. And what happens is if we can't connect to that inner being, and if we're constantly filtering that inner being out with our thoughts or with other people's opinions or other people's thoughts, we start moving towards the direction that we think that we should be going into to please another person, or we're doing what they define for success for us. And we're getting farther and farther away from what is actually authentically aligned and what is our authentic truth. And so a really simple way to get you back in touch with your truth and with trusting yourself is that practice of meditation, because as feelings and thoughts start to arise within you, as you cultivate this practice, you're going to get inspiration. You're going to be getting, guided thoughts, a thought might pop into your head. You might be guided to, go somewhere that day or do something that day or take some sort of action. And it's like there's going to be then different synchronicities that align that are coming from your inner being, that, allowing yourself to trust those impulses over trusting what someone else might be saying to you, or what voice may be shared outside of yourself, essentially. So just to recap, the 3 tips to ditching your self-doubt is to, number 1, get curious about where did that self-doubt begin. Number 2, stop looking for external validation and confirmation on your experience and start trusting what you're sensing and feeling. And number 3, to deepen in that trusting and sensing of your deeper you is to connect into your your higher self, your higher being, through a practice of meditation. And as I was saying, you were born for greatness, right? You were born for a purpose, and it's only a disservice to you to actually put more weight outside of yourself and doubt yourself, and a disservice to listen to what everyone else wants from you, for your life, or being the chameleon that flexes and adapts and becomes the person that other people need you to be, that's a huge disservice to, and a huge practice of abandoning your true essence, abandoning your true self. And when you can stop abandoning you and start trusting yourself, you're naturally going to start coming into alignment to your true purpose, to your true essence. And that purpose is something that already exists and your inner being already knows deep within your soul. And that's really what you were born for. So if anything, the deepest motivation to trust yourself is that there's some part of you that already knows and that can guide you in the direction that you're meant to be going. You don't need to get that validation from outside of you. So really, all of this is going to help you create that life of alignment, create that purpose-driven life. And I would say if you're deeply, ready to stop, to let go of and shaking off the burden of other people's expectations, and to really connect into your most confident, capable, authentic you, and to move forward in a direction of your dreams that is one of 100% faith, confidence, conviction, and trust in yourself, and you're not quite sure how to do that, that is exactly the work that I do with my clients, to help them peel back these layers, to peel back their thoughts, peel back these limiting beliefs of the stories of what they've inherited from all the people around them, of what they can do and can't do, and what's possible and what's not possible, and to connect into that essence and their true authentic self so that they can really take off and create the life of their dreams. And if that's something that is calling to you, that's aligned to you, I'd absolutely welcome the opportunity to connect, to have a chat. You can do so by either dropping a fire emoji in the comments below. You can book a chat through the description that I will have there as well. And I would say, if anything, right, the biggest takeaway for you is going to be, if you gain nothing else, it's going to be understanding where are you at, what's stopping you, what's getting in the way, where do you want to go, and how I can help create that strategy and plan to help get you there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, one more thing that I just want to add is that if you haven't gotten a free copy of my No BS guide, 6-step guide to help you remember, reclaim, and radiate all of who you were born to be, you can grab that in the link below. And I would absolutely love to know in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from today's video? And I can't wait to connect with you again and see you next week. Until then, I am sending you all so much love. Have an amazing rest of your day.